Good morning. This is the 49th video in the series State of the School, Frank School, Camp Ranch campus. But I'm going off the campus because, as I explained in the last video, I'm going to explain my travels. I'm going to take you with me to some extent on these travels. And I made a list of them. It's quite long, and I'm certainly not going to do a trip per video. It would be a whole other thing if I did it. I really want to explain to you where I have been, that was exotic, not to town and back, which there was a time when that would have been exotic in the Middle Ages, and I'm getting there gradually. But that would be of use to you, and which you would have access on Frank's School online. And even physically here in the shelves back here of stuff related to it. And I'm going to go more or less in chronological order. And let me start by saying that when I was in college, when I went to college, I hadn't really traveled anywhere west of Pennsylvania or north of New Hampshire, really. But my roommate was from Florida. He was from Lauderdale, Florida, and come springtime we went down there. A spring fling. It wasn't like that for us. I mean, we were going to visit his home where he lived with his mother. His dad, they were divorced by that time. So anyway, there was my first trip to the south, and I actually saw palm trees. And it was a quick trip, just like a week's vacation. I can't remember if we rented a car. I don't remember exactly how we did. Well, I know we traveled by land. And we did that twice. There was another springtime. I don't know if it was the very next springtime that we did it. So 2 times I went to Florida and back. And as I say, I was introduced and quite taken, really, with what tropical vegetation looked like. So there were those 2 trips. The one thing that stands out in my mind from that is I flew a plane. My roommate was his father was a flight instructor. He had his own private little tiny plane, Piper Cub or something, and he had taught his son Lee how to fly as well, and I imagine Lee could teach. Well, anyway, Lee took me up, and at one point he gave me the controls. So I was actually flying this plane, a weird experience. But anyway, that stands out in my mind. So I think I'm going to, as fast as I can go across these trips, I'm going to do so. So that was one trip. Now that I think of it, I did go to New York City. One of my other roommates was from New York City, and we went there. But the bigger trip that stands out in my mind was in the year 1966. I think I would have been a sophomore, I think, at that time. Maybe a junior, I don't think. No, I would have been a sophomore, I think. I hitchhiked across the country and back. My roommate, Lee, the same one who had me fly, he got me into hitchhiking. Said that's a fine thing to do. He also taught me to drive a motorcycle, and he and I had a motorcycle for a while that I had over a summer. When he went back down to Florida, I kept it in New Hampshire the summer. But anyway, Thummer School. I called it Thummer School. You get it? Summer school, Thummer School. I actually say I hitchhiked across the United States and back. Well, on the way across, going west, it was one long ride. Because when I was about to leave, it turned out that my parents knew a young couple that were going to be making that drive anyway, because the man was going to look at some colleges where he might be a teacher. And they said I could ride with them, so I did. So that part was easy. With them, I rode all the way to San Diego, got as far as Tijuana, actually crossed the border, and then headed north, climbed Mount McKinley. That's what it was called then. I guess Obama called it Denali, and now Trump's got it McKinley again. And I described that in here. That's what was I'd have to say it was kind of a brush with death, climbing Mount McKinley, but only because of altitude sickness. I didn't quite make it to the top because I got so sick, having the day before been at sea level, and I paid no attention to altitude sickness. I thought, that's for pansies. No, no, I knew the real thing, and it was bad. But I managed to get back down. Anyway, I record that in here. I kept the diary as I went. We went up the West Coast. He went as far as Eugene, Oregon, and there I talked him into letting me out because I did really want to meet people by hitchhiking. And they were real reluctant to do that. They would have brought me the whole way back too, but no, they let me out, and that's where my hitchhiking started. And I made my way back across the United States, stopped at my still another roommate's a place in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and eventually made it back. So there was a trip. Why did I do it? I wanted to see the country. I didn't have any money, and I wanted to meet people. And as I say, I kept a journal, and I dug it out. I haven't looked at it in years, in decades, almost since I made the trip. So there are 3 trips, and that was before Peace Corps. That's the start. Bye for now.